The following is a presentation of Appalachian State University.
National publications consistently praise Appalachian for its quality education. Now, a new top administrator is taking the university's academics to an even higher level of excellence. Dr. Lori Gonzalez joined the Appalachian family in the fall of 2011. A native of Kentucky, she's a licensed speech pathologist and a former dean of the College of Health Sciences at the University of Kentucky. We'll meet this educational leader coming up on Appalachian Perspective. Welcome to Appalachian Perspective. My guest today is Appalachian's new provost and executive vice chancellor, Dr. Lori Gonzalez. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Now tell it to us like it is. What was it about Appalachian that would attract your attention, you, a very revered, popular dean and a leader at the University of Kentucky, to say, I would leave my old Kentucky home and come to Appalachian?
It was a big decision, a big life decision. I actually wasn't looking for a job, didn't even think about should I move to the next step. But many years ago, my husband and I were having a conversation talking about where we might go. And I said, you know, if anything ever came open at Appalachian, I'd like to look at that. I knew the school by reputation. I'd visited here. So he was the one that sent me the ad from the Chronicle. And I'll tell you, it took him a little talking for me to think about leaving my old Kentucky home. Yeah. But then once I sent it in and ended up after the airport interview, I had to have the job. I had to have the job. It was a great interview, a great group of people on the search committee.
Great, good. Well, we're glad that you got the job, and we're certainly glad you're here. And it's only been like 11 months, right, since you've been here?
10 months and 4 days.
10 months and 4 days. Okay, good, but you're not really counting.
Not really counting.
Well, during that time, what has been the most fun thing that you've done?
Well, the most fun thing has been meeting all the people. You know, when I was doing the campus interview, the thing that I noticed on the campus was a true spirit that sounds a little hokey, but it's really true. When you met with students, when you went into different faculty groups, you could really tell people wanted to be here. And that was remarkable to me. So the most fun thing has been getting to know people a little bit deeper and find out exactly why they're interested in Appalachian and what it is about the campus and the community that makes them love it here.
Well, in your job, with all the responsibilities you have, the main thing is the academic affairs part. The title is Executive Vice Chancellor, which gives you authority over all to some extent here. But the main thing is in academics. And that means it's time for Appalachian strategic plan. So what's the process for you to plan, say, what will Appalachian be like academically in 5 years, 10 years?
Well, I'm very lucky that I came in following a provost who had done this process very well. So Stan Ashelman had a number of working groups that had lots of recommendations for where the campus should go in a number of areas, in academic programming, in quality, in research, in taking care of the environment, and in our service mission. So we're going to start with those reports because given where we've been from about the time the strategic plan started until now in terms of budget, there have been a number of sort of strategic initiatives that we have not met because really we couldn't target them because of funding. So I'm going to start there, but I've presented to the Board of Trustees to get their input, and the question was, where do you want Appalachian to be in 2017? What do you want us to be known for? If there was a bumper sticker, what will it say? And I met Saturday with the Alumni Council. So we want to get broad input from everyone, but you can't take everyone's input and put it in a plan. So we will be forming the university's Priorities and Planning Council that will have input from all over the campus. We'll have members participating on that council, and they'll help guide the process to develop the plan that we hope to have approved by about June or September of 13.
Great, good. Well, you know, one of the phrases that we have used at Appalachian for a couple of years with the beauty of this region, mountains of opportunities.
Yes.
So what do you see as, with the fresh eyes, the new approach, what do you see as the opportunities, these mountains of opportunities that we're so proud of?
Well, the first issue that I'd like to focus on that I think there's lots of opportunities and untapped potential is in research. I believe Appalachian has a chance to make a huge difference on the region and the state by looking at applied research. And some of our applied research would be in the area of environment, in the area of energy, in healthcare, in sustainability, all those things that make us a little bit different than all the other schools in North Carolina. So when I look at opportunities, I'm looking for opportunities that maximize what we're already doing to set us apart from other institutions. And those are some of the core initiative areas that I think we should target.
You mentioned that word sustainability, and we have just completed on campus this first UNC System Sustainability Energy Savings Conference that we're very proud of. You were on the leadership committee and steering that and planning that. Where do you think that's going to take us? How do you feel about that?
Well, it's a little ironic, but we kept saying there was so much energy at the energy conference because we, in our groups, I was on the academic integration subgroup. Each group came out charged, energized, ready to go and tackle this issue from every perspective. But coming from academics, the perspective that has to take precedent is academics. If Appalachian cuts its energy bill by 90%, that would be great for West Carolina, for the system, and for Appalachian. But if we don't teach our students about being sustainable members and advocating for sustainability, the country will have missed the opportunity. And so I think it has to be led by faculty and students, and then the energy savings will come from things happening at Appalachia, but then these students will take it out to their world and will really be able to transform in this area.
How do you think that Appalachian got this great honor of hosting this from the UNC system perspective? I mean, when you think about Appalachian, you think about the beauty of the region and all, certainly, and the strong academic programs that we have, but right off, you just don't think about Appalachian as being a campus that focuses on energy and sustainability. How did it happen?
What happened that it became a value for the campus. The one thing that I love, one of the many things I love about this campus, is when something is a value and something is a core value, it becomes action. So I call it to when I leave and people say, well, have you gotten all these sort of national recognitions without much money and without the resources that you need? And I say, this is a can-do campus. If there's a value, they're going to find a way to make it happen. And that happens across a lot of different areas. Undergraduate research is an important value for this campus, and this year we broke the record in the number of faculty and the number of students participating in undergraduate research. There wasn't more money to put into that program. We couldn't pay more mentors to do it, but people step up and do it. Energy matters. We bring students here that are concerned about the environment and want to make a difference, and they can come to a campus where we are demonstrating it, we are leading it, and then we're educating our students to go and do the same thing.
So sustainability, you would say, is one of these mountains of opportunities
Absolutely.
As we face it. What else?
Research, for sure.
Research, for sure.
And research is one that we are not as far along. So with sustainability, I think we walk the walk and talk the talk. And in research, we have a way to go. But we also have two things on campus that I think will allow us to move forward very quickly. There's a spirit of collaboration here, so it isn't always my division, my discipline, my department. People work really well across departments, and the way we'll make our mark in research is on interdisciplinary research. So we can bring people together, and we have majors that do that. Sustainable development does that. Environmental sciences, they will come together across many disciplines. Our new fermentation science program that starts in the fall is interdisciplinary. And so as we look to build those linkages across departments, we can grow research in an applied way, and that's how we'll make our mark. But we have further to go with that, but it's nice to have a stretch goal as well as one we're on our way, already making progress.
So the mountains in the future, sustainability, research, perhaps fermentation science. What about international?
Well, that's going to be our focus for the next 5 years with our quality enhancement program. And our regional accrediting body requires us to do a quality enhancement plan. And so the campus did a very thorough vetting process and came up with internationalization. We already do it well. We rank really highly in the number of students that go abroad for short-term study abroad. But we have to focus on students studying for an entire semester or an entire summer out of the country. And so that's going to be our focus in terms of, one, getting students to other countries, or as Jesse Ludabingwa says, bringing the world to Appalachian.
Right.
And so we'll make sure that all our students have some sort of experience with individuals from different countries, whether the students are able to study abroad or we bring people back to campus. That's an exciting thing, and that was actually one of the things that attracted me about Appalachian, because you do it very well already. And I think there's ways that we can grow the programming. We just signed a new agreement with a university in Beijing that we can have our students come and their students will come and study with us. We have a new program in communications in Mexico, so students will come from Mexico after their first 2 years and finish their program here, which will give our students access to people from different countries. So that's a very exciting thing, and it's something that there seems to be a lot of passion on campus for, just in general.
What about also, talk a little bit about the Honors College and the new facility there. That's something I see very exciting, but just share with the viewers what's happening.
Well, you know, we will open in October. It's called Appalachian Hall, but it's the Honors and Engagement Village. So our honors freshmen go in Cone Hall, our honors upperclassmen will go in Summit, brand new Summit, and then Cone has been renovated. And so it makes this quadrangle all focused on honors. The students from, excuse me, the students from both residence halls can flow freely between both halls, and then they can also go into the annex, which is Appalachian Hall. It's going to be a visible mark that the university is committed to that. And we have been committed for a long time, but when you erect bricks and mortar, it says, this matters to the campus. And so it's going to be a great recruiter for our students. And our students, we continue to move the bar higher and higher on the quality metrics of those students. And then on the output end, to show that Appalachian is value added, our students are going to medical school, to pharmacy school, dentistry, law school, all sorts of graduate schools across the United States at some of the most prestigious institutions. So it's working.
Well, get back to your personal love, health sciences, and the new college that we have here at Appalachian, and the leadership you're providing for it now. What do you see for that?
Well, it's when you look at anything that lists the top 10 or 20 professions into the future, many of those are health professions. We're all getting older, as much as we would like to not agree with that. And we're all going to need healthcare services and rehab services. And so I see the opportunity for us to grow more professional programs here and to move forward in health sciences. I was in a health sciences college that was in 9 different locations. And then we got a new building. You think, well, that's good to get a new building, but it changed the whole tenor of the college. We had collaboration, you had hallway conversations, and got a lot of things done that would not have happened with everyone in these discrete locations across campus. So my hope is that we can someday soon be successful with the building, because in this case, the building becomes the catalyst for all the interdisciplinary work, and healthcare professionals need to learn to deal with other healthcare professionals. Otherwise, we'll graduate a great social worker who's never worked with a nutritionist or anyone in exercise science or athletic training or communication sciences and disorders. And healthcare has to be a team approach, the patient's in the center and everyone working together. So there's lots of opportunities there. The building is one way that we can physically get there. And if we don't have that, then we have to make a conscious effort to bring those disciplines together. Our new collaboration that's in the works with Wake Forest will allow us to begin to do that. When we sign the agreement with Wake Forest and they bring their physician assistant studies program up here, their PA students will work directly with our speech language pathologist, with our exercise science and athletic trainers, and with our social workers and management people, so that everyone sort of learns to focus on the patient as a team.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned the PA program from Wake Forest coming up here and offering courses and working. When will that begin?
Well, we hope that we get the agreement signed within the next month or so. And I think that the first student body would come up here in the fall of 13. We have renovations to do to University Hall that Wake Forest will cover that expense, and that's where they'll be housed for their classes, which will be delivered through synchronous technology. So students at Wake and students at App will be taking classes at the same time. But it's those co-curricular things that will bring our students together with those students. And we were just getting that going for about 2 years when I left UK, and our students were competing in national competitions as interdisciplinary team members, and that's where we want to go with Wake and Appalachian.
And the enrollment in health sciences continues to increase?
Yes, and it will continue to increase.
And the quality of students coming in?
Yes, continues to go up. As a matter of fact, the nursing program has exploded. And we will be building an MSN, a Master Science of Nursing, and they are putting together an online program for individuals who've gotten a nursing degree from the community college, and now those individuals that want to get a bachelor's degree. And that'll be an online program because those people are working in hospitals, nursing homes, and clinics, and they're not going to come up the mountain to take our program. But if we offer it online, they can stay at work and complete the program and get the next credential, which is a really cool career ladder if you think about it. We don't have a lot of those here at Appalachian where you get some degree in a profession at the community college level and then finish here with a bachelor's degree. And so that's a nice way for us to collaborate with the community colleges.
Another area for which you have responsibility, enrollment management, and thus admissions. So what does the incoming class for Appalachian look like for this fall?
It's the best class that we've ever admitted.
Great.
And I hope if I'm here next year, I say the very same thing about the next class. Our metrics on ACT scores, SAT scores, high school GPA are all higher than they ever have been, as is the percentage of underrepresented students.
Super.
And we've had record applications from transfer students, with most of them being from the community college. And that's a really important part for our future enrollment management. We want to really look to the community colleges to get 2-year transfers into Appalachian. So
very good.
It's been a successful year. As a matter of fact, as you're aware, it's been a little bit more successful than we had anticipated.
Right.
We had a higher yield rate, which is the students that apply, are accepted, and pay a deposit than we've ever had before. It started out at 41%. We had some melt students who now aren't coming, and we're down at 39% for the yield, and that is up 5 percentage points from just 2 years ago. So more students are signaling with their pocketbook that they want to come to Appalachian. And that's an exciting thing.
Yeah, that is. It's a great sign. And we certainly know that they're coming for the strong academic programs that we have.
Yes.
That's the reason
that
they should be choosing Appalachian.
Well, what's really fun is when you go to open house and these students are coming in and you say, what major are you thinking about? And they'll tell you their major. And then you say, what are the schools that you're looking at? And they go, well, Clemson, Davidson, Harvard, State, and Appalachian. But Appalachian's top on my list. Those are the ones I run into a lot. So we have a lot of interest from the top students, and they're interested in majors, minors, double majors, international travel, environmental issues, and all those things.
Very encouraging for the future.
It is.
Very
exactly.
encouraging. You know, we've been through, like every school in North Carolina, I think every school in the nation, we've been through some tough, challenging financial times. And so then you have to sort of sit back some time and say, are we the right size as an institution? How do you, with your fresh eyes and a new approach, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think that it's important for us to figure out what the growth trajectory will be, because before the economic downturn, we were on a trajectory that was taking us up, up, up. And I think that when I was talking with the Alumni Council on Saturday, I said, I think what you're going to see is that trend line going a little bit flatter than we thought. You have to, because we are primarily a residential campus, we want to make sure freshmen live on campus. That's part of the transformational experience of undergraduate education. If we grow too much, we end up sending those freshmen off campus into apartments. Fine for a sophomore. I prefer the sophomore stay on campus. fine for upperclassmen, but freshmen really need to be on campus, to be close to the library, to build those friendships that gives them the cohort that they will be friends with throughout their 4 years here. So we have to balance that very carefully, and we have an entire council that's all they do, is look at right-sizing the campus. And it has people that have space management on it, that have housing, dining, and then have our undergraduate education program, and then several faculty on that. What size will be will depend on where we go with any sort of online education, if we opt to do that very much. But we have to kind of balance all these other things to see what size we want to be in 5 years, in 10 years.
Right. It looks like great academic programs now, pretty much the right size till we do some more studying and all with it. But the future, what do you see as being the programs that we'll add, not keep, but the ones that we want to add to? Everything changes. So what's your vision?
Well, I'd like to have a conversation with the campus on where we want to go with doctoral education. If you think about it, we have one doctoral degree on campus, but there are potential programs that could grow doctoral education in one of two ways. We could grow them with clinical doctoral degrees or professional doctoral degrees, where someone becomes the master clinician. And an example of a professional degree is physical therapy. It's a doctoral degree, but it's not the traditional PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. So I think there's lots of room for growth there, which goes with our applied education sort of thought. But there are programs probably that can mature into true doctoral programs. But to do that, you don't just want to just let programs grow. We want to decide strategically which programs are ready, because it's going to take investment in those programs to really make that happen. We don't have anyone ready today to move to be a doctoral program without new resources coming in. And so because of that, we have to be a little bit more strategic and more thoughtful than just say, oh, I'm ready to go. And so I think that's what we'll start this fall, to decide what our path will be for doctoral education.
Good. Okay. Well, also with the back to the right sizing a little bit, in North Carolina, we've had lots of questions asked to say, can you get by with less? Can you, from an administrative standpoint, mid-management is the term that we keep hearing. From your perspective, comparing Appalachian to University of Kentucky, I realize the difference here, but how do you think that we are? Are we fat? Are we slim? Are we about right, or what?
I think we're very, very thin in terms of enough people to get the job done. Now, the advantage is people get the job done. So I think we actually suffer from our success. So we are thin, we get the job done, and so they think that new resources aren't needed. But what happens, and particularly what happens when you have tougher economic times, is you don't have people are taking on many, many more responsibilities, because we lose someone, we're not going to add someone back in that position, so two other people take on those jobs. And I think given the fact that everyone has been feeling the pinch from the downturn, people are a little afraid on campus. They've been doing more work at the same level and without any chance of a raise for the past number of years. So I think that's the difference. And I would imagine, when I looked at studies of administrative level employees compared with the whole system, we're really down at the bottom of that list. So we are thin. So what you say when you talk about right-sizing the campus, we have to right-size the staff, and we have to figure out where we are the thinnest and put more people there, and figure out what efficiencies could be made that would impact the student experience if we had more people in certain jobs.
Okay. Well, saying we're going to try and get that right, because it's all about serving the campus, the faculty, the staff, and the students. That's what we're all here for. So what new administrator types do you see coming to Appalachian in the near future?
If I had my way, that would be some of the things I'd be thinking about. We just hired the new Chief Information Officer. And while that's not a new position, it's a brand new person coming in with a brand new perspective. We hired Kathy Bates from the University of Arizona, who is very excited to come, and she'll be here August 27th. She was our top candidate, and we were really glad to get her. I actually would like to start a search in the fall for a vice provost for research to really make us walk the walk and talk the talk. Currently, that function has been handled by a person who's also responsible for the entire graduate program at Appalachian. And so it's one of those cases where it's too much for one person to do. And so I've been in conversations with that individual in the graduate school, and so that position will probably come on board with the search starting in the fall. And then another position that isn't really a new position, because we will always have a faculty member do it, is an academic ombud. And so an ombud is a person who serves as a mediator between faculty and students should any issues arise. So if a student wants to contest a grade but is concerned about going and talking to the faculty member alone, then the ombud helps broker that conversation and really helps teach the student how to approach a faculty member appropriately. Also, when faculty members have to deal with serious issues like plagiarism or cheating in the classroom, the ombud is the person that they can go to get information about how to handle that whole problem. We don't have that here at Appalachian. It sort of falls to one person one time, another person. It's more of an ad hoc process. And I think by identifying one person whose job is to be the liaison between faculty and students will help make the experience for both parties much better.
I know that you're a person who does the homework. You don't come in and just shoot from the hip. You're prepared, you're ready for any meeting or anything, any topic that comes up. But you can't always get it always right. What surprised you about Appalachian? I know you did your work before you came,
Yes.
But you get here, something had to just surprise you a little bit.
My main surprise, the main thing, was how Appalachian is funded. And you've heard me mention this. I've mentioned this to people all along. I said, the place that I was before, if we were good stewards of our dollars and had money at the end of the year, we got to keep it, which is not what happens on this campus. You can keep something like 2% of what you hold back. That is a game changer in terms of planning ahead. When you have to spend the money in 1 year increments, it changes how you decide, how you make strategic decisions. During the Energy Summit, I was approached by our 2 alumni who helped us get it started, and they said, if we were going to go to the legislature and say, what's the top thing you need? I said, well, we need a College of Health Sciences building, but the one transformational decision would be if the legislature and then the general administration let us keep money on campus that we save. We would be able to work on deferred maintenance. We would be able to invest into the future in a way that we haven't been able to do. I'm shocked at the quality here given the funding model. That was my biggest plan. So when they said, Lori, how will you grow research here? I said, well, I'll use the fund balances and I'll do this and this and this. And the whole time they're going, no, you can't use the fund balances because we don't keep fund balances. So that was the biggest shock to me.
Okay, all right. Now tell me, I know you have a wonderful son. I've met him a couple of times. Where is he? Tell me a little bit about his level of interest and where he is.
I know, yes. I think this is why people hired me. So I could tell them that my son is a freshman. He finished his freshman year at the University of Michigan. Have you heard of Michigan?
Yes, I have.
I thought
I've
maybe
been there a time or two, yeah. And his major is?
He is trombone performance and music composition.
Okay, so he's a music student at Michigan, and you are the chief academic officer at Appalachian State that has the phenomenal Hayes School of Music that's here. So I guess there's a little parenting that needs to be done
exactly
here
right.
as it goes on.
I will say he had accepted Michigan before we ever thought about coming to Appalachian. But it's been kind of a funny little icebreaker for people because it somehow brings back memories for people whenever I mention University of Michigan.
Right, yeah.
He took a class this summer at Appalachian, though. Said it was one of the best classes he'd taken in philosophy. So.
Well, now see, that should be a sign.
No,
that should be a sign, okay. Well, Lori, thank you for being a guest on Appalachian Perspective, and thank you for the leadership you're providing our campus It's delightful to have you here. It's wonderful working with you, but I appreciate mostly the great things that you're doing for the academics on this campus.
Thank
It's
you.
great
I'm
to have
really
you
glad
here.
to be here. I appreciate it. Thanks.